they felt defenseless. You see, when they were now free from bondage, they were now free from slavery, they were now free from being killed and free from being beaten and working for pennies. But see, also, they no longer had taskmasters that planned their days. And you see what I'm saying? And when you have somebody planning your day for you, you don't have to worry about what to do or what comes next or, what's going to happen now. And they don't have to worry about any of that. They didn't have to worry about where their food was coming from. They didn't have to worry about where they was going to sleep and lay their head. They didn't have to worry about none of that stuff, because as long as they allowed themselves to be a slave to Pharaoh, Pharaoh didn't hinder them from having any of these things. He actually made sure that they had everything they needed as long as they worked for him. And see, that's how Satan will do you. He'll make sure you have everything you need as long as you're working for him. And him providing for you is not actually him providing for you. It's still God providing for you. He's just not going to hinder you from getting any of those provisions. You see what I'm saying? What makes it look like he's taking credit for what you're getting, but it ain't him. It's God providing it for you. He just ain't going to hinder it as long as you're doing what it is that he wants you to do. You see what I'm saying? So he's pimping God's provision in order for you to remain steadfast to what he wants you to do. But as soon as you stop doing what Satan wants you to do, what is he going to do? Start blocking those provisions that God has provided for you. He's going to start to get in the way of your blessing. He's going to start to pursue after you and chase after you and put fear and doubt and discontentment in you in order for you to question if these provisions were even worth it. But it's the same provisions that you've been getting all your life. But now Satan is fighting you, whereas he wasn't fighting you before. You see what I'm saying? We got to get wise to Satan's tricks. You see what I'm saying? And then also, they no longer had visible protection or no known way out of their predicament. See, because while Pharaoh was chasing after them, they had gotten to a place where they thought that they had no way out, because in front of them now was this big, huge sea. You see what I'm saying? So you got Pharaoh on your back, but you got this huge sea in front of you. They didn't know what to do. How in the world are we going to get out of this situation? You see what I'm saying? Now that they were free from Pharaoh, who was going to protect them from Pharaoh? And see, that's the way it works with Satan. You see what I'm saying? We get free from Satan, but now that Satan is chasing after us and he's pursuing us and he's throwing all these stumbling blocks in our way and he's making everything harder for us now, because now he's no longer working with us because we're no longer working with him, but now he's fighting against us because we're fighting against him. So now who is going to protect us from Pharaoh now that we are free from Pharaoh? You see what I'm saying? But yet Pharaoh pursued after them, looking to regain them to himself. See, once you get saved and you give your life to Christ, you belong to him. But what now Satan is going to do is he wants to keep pursuing after you because he needs to regain you to himself. He needs you still working for his kingdom. Even though that you belong to God, he still wants you working for his kingdom. So he's never going to stop pursuing you. Why? Do he still pursue us if we belong to God? Because don't you know you can be a child of God and still be working for Satan? Don't you know you can be a child of God and still be fighting on the wrong side of the war? That's the revelation we got to get. Why is Satan still following us if there's nothing we can do for us if we now belong to Christ? Because you can still belong to Christ and be working on the wrong side. So we got to get wise. We got to get wise. We got to get wise. You see what I'm saying? They became fearful and began to cry out to God, crying out to God and then complaining to Moses about the situation. They wondered why they had ever tried to leave in the first place. They wondered why God made them leave in the first place. You know, they up there complaining. And that's how we get with God. We get free from Satan. We get away from bondage. We get away from all the old things we used to do. And then now that we out here and we running for God and we doing the things that we want to do that God wants us to do for him. And now all of a sudden Satan is rearing up his ugly head and fighting against us. We get to question why we even do this in the first place. What was I thinking? What made me think that I could be a minister for God? What made me think that I could start my own business? I mean, what made me think that I could get rid of all these old habits? Now I got this war going on inside of me. I'm trying not to do this, but yet my flesh want to do this, and this is too much. What made me think I could start my own church? Now I got all hell breaking out loose against me. I got every demon in hell coming out against me. Where did all this come from? You see what I'm saying? And now we out here like, oh my God, I can't handle this. What is we gonna do? God, we gonna die out here. Why did you bring me out here just to go through all this? And I don't know what to do. I'm out here in an element that I don't understand. I'm out here in this wilderness and don't know how to fight. What begin to even question, why did I come out here? What was I even thinking? You know what I'm saying? And then they began to say, it was better for us that we was in Egypt serving the Egyptians. They were getting to say to themselves, we was cool doing what we was doing. I mean, it wasn't all that. We had to deal with these taskmasters beating up on us from time to time. And you know what I'm saying? I had to deal with this addiction, rising up in me every once in a while. But I was cool. All I had to do was hit that blunt. All I had to do was go ahead and smoke this weed. All I had to do was hit that crack a little bit. All I had to do was drink a little something. When my flesh rise up, all I had to do was go get me a little bit. All I had to do, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't all that, but, I knew what to do in order to take care of what was going on within me. But now I'm out here and I'm trying not to do all these things, but yet I still got all this stuff rising up against me. I still got all these demons trying to pull me back into this thing. What do I do now, God? I was cool. I knew what to do then. You know what I'm saying? When that urge came, I knew what to do. Go take care of my business. Go handle what I need to do. Then the urge was gone. Then when the urge came up again, I knew what to do. But now that this urge is coming up and I got the devil on my back and his demons behind me, what do I do now? It wasn't all that, but I knew what to expect, God. I knew what to do, God. Now I'm out here and I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I think it was better for me to stay where I was at. And see, there comes a time in our lives as the children of God when we must fully let go of where we came from and begin to focus totally on where we are going. Even when Satan is right behind you, ready to snatch you back into captivity. We can't allow Satan to ever get us back in bondage just because he's making freedom look so hard. Just because he's making freedom look so challenging, because now he's coming against you with everything that you used to do that you don't want to do no more. He's coming back at you with the place that you used to be at that you don't want to go back to no more. See, you didn't realize the war that was going on in you because you was giving into it. Now that you're no longer giving into it, now you got revelation of the war. Now what do I do? What do I do, God? See, even then we must keep our eyes on our purpose. Our purpose is to stay free. Our purpose is to do what God told us to do. Our purpose is to be obedient. And we got to keep our eyes focused on our destiny or we will get sidetracked. Now, just to understand the gravity of the situation that God now sees the children of Israel in, that the children of Israel now realize that they're in, we got to understand that Pharaoh took over 600 chariots with him. You understand? He took and had several captains rolling with him. So Pharaoh had enough people riding with him to take the children of Israel out. They were scared. They like, oh my God, we got this sea in front of us, Pharaoh behind us. I see thousands of folks. What is we going to do now, God? They got so scared and intimidated that they began to doubt God and question Moses and look this was crazy. They actually started to look favorably on their time in bondage. Isn't that what Satan will do with us? He'll get us so scared and so afraid of the fact that we think we can't handle this situation that we actually look back on the time that we was serving him and bound to him favorably. How is that? That's what they said. They said, it may have been better for us to stay there. They began to look favorably on that. How many times are we out here trying to run for God and doing those things that God would have us to do that we start to look back on where we came from and think that, maybe it wasn't so bad. It's better than what I'm going through now. You know what I'm saying? They were in a position where they were being abused and misused by Pharaoh. But now because they were in a tough situation, they began to think that somehow to be back in that situation with Pharaoh was better to be out here in the wilderness with God. That's crazy. And that's how we get sometimes too. No matter how much Satan beat us up out there, stripped of us all our pride, all of our integrity, got us bound to everything we can think of, as soon as things get a little rough out here with God, we begin to think that it was better for us to be there. Be back in that situation. We got to come higher in God. You saw, sometimes when we get hit so hard by Satan with fear, doubt, and discontentment, and able to make us give up, that we actually lose our minds a little bit and begin to think that it was better for us to be bound to Satan. It ain't never better to be bound to Satan. You see what I'm saying?